And Jimmy, that leaves us with your amazing work at the Lourie Center for Children's Social and Emotional Wellness. The Lourie Center is a private nonprofit agency with a mission to improve the social and emotional health of young children and their families through prevention, early intervention, education, research, and training. The center was founded in 1983 by the late Dr. Reginald S. Lourie, a worldwide leader in the fields of pediatric child psychiatry and infant mental health, and by his colleagues, including Dr. T. Barry Brazelton and Dr. Stanley Greenspan, as an outgrowth of their 6-year clinical research project funded by the National Institute of Mental Health. Serving more than 4,000 children and families in the Washington metropolitan area, regardless of ability to pay, the center is a pioneer and leader in the field of infant and child mental health. Dr. James Venza serves as executive director and has extensive experience with children, adolescents, and families from diverse ethnic and socioeconomic populations, often dealing with trauma, abuse, crisis management, and a wide range of mental health issues. So Jimmy, the reason I thought it would be fitting for you to go last in this lineup is because the work you're doing right now and that you're looking to expand through Project Echo, which we'll get into momentarily, it's really in preparation for supporting what both the early education field and the pediatric community believes will be a crisis when children return to their preschools and care settings. And that is one of extraordinary numbers of children having been exposed to trauma. Now, the stress that families are under, that we alluded to it at the start of our event today, that radiates down on children in so many ways. We expect reports of abuse, neglect, and domestic violence to spike coming out of this time. And even in the absence of those extremes, the extraordinary stress and anxiety that many families are experiencing will have ripple effects on children's emotional health and wellness. And we know that teachers and caregivers in early care and education settings are generally ill-prepared to support children who've experienced trauma. The Lourie Center does so much in service of children and families, but for today, we're going to focus on 2 of your initiatives that are very closely linked, your therapeutic nursery program and Project Echo. So Jimmy, can you just start off by telling me a little bit about the therapeutic nursery program?
Yes, I'd be happy to. Thank you, Kylie, and all good greetings and well wishes to everyone joining us today. When you think of therapeutic nursery program, think childhood trauma and resilience, childhood resilience. What does the trauma look like? Well, in a preschooler who comes into an early child care setting with a backpack on, maybe not a backpack, the trauma gets expressed in really unsafe behaviors, overwhelmed, the child's overwhelmed, hitting, kicking, biting, scratching, crawling under the table, crying and not being able to be consoled, just overwhelmed the ability to connect to their friends, to learn, to make deep relationships with their teachers. And so the Lourie Center's over 3 decades designed a particular intervention and also prevention program. So it's a wonderful early childhood education program using creative curriculum as our curriculum and integrated with a mental health and social emotional focus. So that is delivered by a team of educators and mental health practitioners who are integrated in the classroom, as well as providing support to the staff, to those teachers and classroom team members. It is a relationship-based program, so that's really important, the attachment, the relationship between the teacher and the child, and then also supporting the parents and the child in that relationship. So it is a delivery model, it's a preschool, but it is a family intervention. So a lot of work, crisis support with the parents to help, of course, support them as they support their child. And really emotional attunement being one of the focus and really kind of driving keys to helping kids overcome the trauma that they've experienced. We serve 12 kids in maximum in a classroom, and we have 2 classrooms for 24 kids in Rockville, Maryland, with some expansion coming up in neighboring counties. And the program is a year or 2 years, and the outcomes have just been incredible. I've been a part of the program for 17 years, and we've seen over 80% of children be able to go to mainstream kindergarten at graduation. In the last 4 years, we've done a full empirical study in partnership with Dr. Yair Ziv from University of Haifa and other colleagues around the country, and showing that with 1 or 2 years in the program, that the outcomes in language and literacy and math, those learning behaviors, as well as social emotional, really the trajectory is just a wonderful trajectory of positive outcome, and that actually those outcomes sustain over into kindergarten and 1st grade and 2nd grade. The longitudinal look as far as we've been able to study. The program also is really key around supporting the workforce and the teachers and the therapists who are involved in the classroom. So reflective supervision weekly for each team member is a core part of the program because of course they too, like the children and the families, are welcoming or faced with traumatic experience on a day-to-day basis. And it's through those relationships and providing safety and security, consistency, that over time, over a year, then in a year or 2, creates the transformational change.
I love obviously the focus on relationships as being so key, and that you see through your research that when you focus on relationships and focus on such a critical area of development and learning, like social emotional development, that you see the ripple effects for all areas of development and learning. So Jimmy, the therapeutic nursery program is so lovely, and it's such a wonderful place for children and families. Project Echo will really allow you to scale the practices you use in the therapeutic nursery program in a really significant way. And I know since the onset of COVID-19, getting Project Echo up and running has become increasingly important to your work. So can you tell us a little bit about Project Echo?
Yes, and Project Echo is a platform to provide basically teleconsultation to other programs and providers, across the country and around the world. Importantly, it's about building capacity for being able to support children and families facing traumatic experiences, which, by the way, was a public health crisis before COVID, and will only increasingly be that now that we're facing COVID as an additional public health crisis. And so Project Echo will allow for the Lourie Center team and our partners around the country and world to be a hub, and then to create ways of supporting pediatric community, either childcare providers or schools, preschools, pediatricians as well, in a spoke and hub model where creates a community of practice, a community of learning, but the format is of case consultation or looking at challenging situations that other programs or providers are facing, and getting weekly feedback and consultation on that, but doing it all together. And so it's about democratizing the experience and learning of 3 decades, and of course the fields learning as well, that collective, and being able to strengthen and provide resiliency within the workforce around these issues. And so it's a really exciting model. It's used extensively in the medical community across the world, and it's come slowly to pediatrics and of course much more slowly to early childhood mental health and social emotional development. So we think it's a real great opportunity to increase access to trauma-informed care throughout multiple systems.
Yeah, it's just an extraordinary way to be able to scale the expertise that you've been, honing over the last several years. So I think everyone can agree that this support will be even more critical in the coming months. So how can folks listening today support your work, Jimmy?
Well, let's see. We talk about the surge right now, and as a world and community, we're facing where we are in the surge with COVID-19 and how this is impacting us. I think we're also now starting to shift to what's the surge coming on the backside of this as we return to classrooms, therapy rooms, homes. And that surge, we didn't have enough access to care before COVID-19 for kids struggling with trauma in their families. And of course, the teachers and childcare providers who are tasked with helping and supporting them, helping them grow. And so for us, it really is about a campaign of funding to generate dollars to help us pilot Project Echo in order to get the information and expertise out into the community and create a community of practice and learning, and then also increase actual availability to physical locations and spaces for children.
Absolutely.
And the therapeutic nursery program.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So again, folks, you'll see that poll on your screen to connect with Jimmy. If you think you can help him with his fundraising goals, or if you would just like to learn more about this important work that they're doing over at the Lourie Center, you can take this next step to learn more.